Craig Parker here, Parker's Property Sourcing, just coming at you with another video. Today's video is how to build monthly passive income through property. I'm currently, as making this video, actively trying to build up my property portfolio. I am trying to make it as passive as possible, and I'm trying to retire early through my property portfolio. That simple. That's my intention. Is it going to be easy with the strategy I'm using? Nothing's easy, especially with something like that, but it's definitely possible and it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. So just wanted to come at you with a video on how you can build up, passive income and what it looks like, basically, just to give you guys a little bit of inspiration and stuff, like what it looks like. So let's say, for example, your monthly target is £1,000, yeah, to get to. I think it's a good start. You could probably do this in one deal, but I'm going to be very conservative in this video and realistic, because I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. So I'm going to be very conservative and realistic. But £1,000 a month, making passively through your property investment isn't a bad shout. I mean, it can't retire me, and it probably won't be able to retire you in this day and age with the way that things go if you live in the UK as well. £1,000 a month doesn't get you far, but having that coming in as an additional income on what you're already earning is a plus. That could cover your mortgage, that could cover your rent for the month. So it's a plus. It's not a massive game changer, but it's definitely a plus. But it's a start. It's somewhere we can start from and build off there. Yeah. So we're going to go through it's very achievable with steady, realistic planning. So what does passive income mean? So cash flow after all costs. Yeah. So the money that you're making from your property portfolio after all your maintenance fees, your mortgages, your insurance, your management fees are all paid. Yeah. That is what you're cash flowing after all of that. That is what passive income is. And it's passive because you're not working for it. It's working for you. Yeah. Which later on in life will give you freedom from a 9 to 5 reliance, in which I hope if you're watching this video, you're trying to get to. An average buy-to-let cash flow. So here is where I'm being conservative. It could be more. And as I'm making this video today, I do have 1 or 2 properties in my portfolio that are cash flowing me more. But I'm going to be realistic, because this is what I'm trying to be with this channel, realistic and transparent. Yeah. So average buy-to-let cash flow gives you £250 to £350 per month. Yeah, per property. Here's something I want you guys to think about before I go any further. That's the average in the UK, yeah? 350 quid. So if you buy a property in a very expensive area with a very, very high deposit, yeah, very high deposit, you're going to be making £350 a month cash flowing. If you buy a property in an up and coming area with an easy entry, with a low deposit, you're going to be making £350 a month. Yes, the capital growth on the both of them are going to be different. Don't get me wrong. But just that's something to think about. Yeah. I remember when, my parents were buying in London many, 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 many moons ago. It was very, very cheap. And it just got built. The area got built out, the regenerations, all of that stuff. To now, something that they probably bought for £80,000 is now worth over £1 million. Yeah. So we got to think about that as new investors or investors in this day and age. Let's look at certain areas now which are easy access, easy entry points, lower outgoings, but still have the potential growth to be exponential. Yeah. So just think about that. So average 250 to 350 per month cash flow per property. So 4 properties at £300 a month, which gives you 1,200 quid. So it's enough to replace a small salary. Maybe a small salary, but I look at it like this. It's enough to pay where you live at least. So it's giving you a little bit of financial freedom. Yeah. So if your portfolio is cash flowing you money and it's going into your back pocket enough to cover your mortgage where you live or your rent where you live, you're a little bit more flexible and free. That sounds good to me. So I hope it sounds good to you guys. That's where we're all trying to get to. We can do 4. If we jump to 8, then we're talking about, a little bit of actual financial freedom where we don't actually have to go out to work because our portfolio is cash flowing enough to fund our lifestyle. So scaling strategy. Reinvest our profits. Yeah. What does that look like? So let's say, for example, we are making £1,000 a month, but we still got a full-time job, or we still got a full-time job and a side hustle, and our portfolio is also giving us £1,000 a month. Let's not touch it. Let's leave it for a couple of years. Yeah, a couple of years, that's 20 odd £1,000. If you get in contact with me, I can get you some good areas that you can get in and get some good buy-to-lets for around £30,000. So you're not far off. Yeah, reinvest all your profits into buying more. Yeah, if you want to accelerate it a little bit quicker, you can use what we call equity release. So again, me as an investor, I buy in areas that have great capital growth potentials, and I try my best to buy below market value. So I'm buying equity. If you look at it like that, I'm buying equity. Basically, I'm buying money. I'm buying equity. It's for free. I'm getting it for free. To be fair, I'm not even buying money. I'm getting it for free. Buying a property, but it's got loads of equity in it, in an area with good capital growth. You can refinance, and when you refinance, you don't pay no tax on that because you're borrowing it. And then what you can do with that money you've borrowed is then reinvest it into more properties. And then that'll just snowball effect. And then as the time goes on and the years go on, this is not a get rich quick or get money quick thing, property investments, especially with buy-to-lets. But it's slow and steady wins the race, in my opinion. Slow and steady wins the race. You start off and you set yourself a 10 to 15 year plan. Some people are impatient. Some people think 10 to 15 years is a long time, but it's not. If you think of what you was doing 15 years ago, it's gone very quickly, So, if we can reinvest our profits, use equity release to snowball our growth, I guarantee you, and we stick to it for 10 to 15 years, you'll look back and probably have more than 3 or 4 properties if you ask me. So, yeah. Timeline. Look, I said 10 to 15 years. 3 to 7 years, depending on speed or strategy, will get you to your 3 or 4. Yeah? 3 to 7 years will get to your 3 or 4. So 10 to 15 years, it'll have double. Yeah? It'll have double that. And you'll be financially free. But it's slow and steady wins the race. As you're working your job, you've got a little bit more of a purpose now. If you're a property investor as well, you know that you're working, you're building up your property portfolio. You can see a way out. And it's not just retirement, it's a lifestyle as well, So stick to it. Because slow and steady wins the race, especially with property investing. So that's been another video. I've been Craig Parker. Hope you enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe. Until next time.